Hello everyone, this is Pensy Joe back again with a new video on the DCC Installation Series. So, as you can see a Norfolk and Western J here. This is not my engine, this is my club's engine. They finally got a TCS decoder to do an upgrade on one of their replacement engines for 611. Now this shell is probably not going to be used. This is number 600's shell. Really, I'm just doing everything that has to do with this and everything that goes inside this tender. So I'm not going to do anything super fancy. Really, we're just trying to make this engine as reliable as possible. Which, ironically enough, the Broadway Limited J1 Norfolk and Western engine. This is a Paragon 1 model. This is the old QSI decoders in here. And the problem with the engine is inside this gearbox mainly. There is a idler gear and an axle gear, and these gears are not the most reliable. In fact, a lot of the J's had a lot of problems. Even the Paragon 2 and 3 had similar issues. I mean, they pretty much had the similar, if not the same issues, which is a shame. These are really popular engines, especially for people who model, excursion trains and all that. So, unfortunately, it's something that Broadway could not fix. This motor is a regular can motor. I believe this is 5-pole. Seems to rotate like a 5-pole pretty well. I will be lubing this engine and doing some little bit of maintenance for it. I already added some Labelle 106 grease inside the worm gear tower. So this engine's pretty much ready to go. It's very plain engine. It's just, there's not too much going on. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. Over here, obviously, you're going to have to just figure out as you go. There's only 6 pins on this model, so you really only get like the headlight, which is also in series with this firebox light, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to really do firebox flicker for this model. It would be cool, but I would have to do 2 wires connected to the tender, and unfortunately, the box over here has the locomotive and tender separate, so I can't really do that without getting a special JST pin connector thing going on, and I don't really have any of those right now. So I could do this in the future, but unfortunately right now it's just this club engine is just being modified so that it can have better sounds in there and better motor control, which hopefully will reduce stress on these gears. This engine's not going to be used as much. This is probably going to most likely be used during the fair and maybe for other reasons, but this is really for the fair. And most likely it'll be used, I don't want to say as often as the usual Walthers, Cato, and Athearn engines. Mainly Walthers and Cato engines get used the most during the fair operations. So this will probably be used on special occasions. It's only probably going to be used once during the fair, maybe for 6 hours, just running nonstop, maybe 50% speed. It doesn't have that. I mean, maybe 50%. I don't know how fast this engine will actually go. Probably around 60-70% speed. So that's the story about this engine. In the next scene, we're going to talk about how we're going to hook this up and how we're going to do the rewiring progress. Okay, so I started snipping the wires. I'm going to be getting these all pulled out, getting ready to fray them, and then start soldering. Same thing down here. There's obviously a reed switch down here now for the chuff sensor, which is interesting. I'm not sure why this is here, not right here on top of the... Yeah, that's interesting. Really interesting how this J was put together. We're not going to use that anymore, so that's just going to stay like that. I'm going to unscrew this board off. I just got to take off the speaker wires in a bit. We got... Still cut this off, so we got right rail and left rail, and that will be soldered to the right rail and left rail pins, which is pretty much pins 1 and 6 on here. And then pins 2 and 5 are motor plus and motor minus, and then the 2 wires in the middle are plus and minus for the LEDs inside the locomotive. I mean, that's just as simple as they're going to get for a QSI engine. They're the easiest to work on. Same thing with Blue Line. They are the easiest. They are definitely beginner friendly when it comes to putting TCS WOW on them or other sorts of models. So yeah, this will be a really quick one. I'll definitely show you what all the wiring will look for the tender, and then there's nothing I'm going to change in the locomotive. I'll have to put the shell on in order to really test the LED in the headlight, but we'll take this to the track and do a little test, and then once that's done, we'll do the final wiring for the sound, and that should be it. And then we'll close up this locomotive, give her a good test run, and then we'll finish the video. Alright guys, I'll see you in a bit where I show you what I just stated before, getting the wires hooked up together. Okay. Now we're back. We got everything wired up. Everything that looks clear is actually all heat shrunk. Every wire is accounted for from right to left and for the rear headlight. And the last thing we need is just the speakers. I'm going to do a quick test before I do the last part, which is the speakers. And then I'm going to close everything back up. I'm going to do one final test, and I'll do a little running video at the end showing what the results are after doing this installation. Alrighty, so the sound wires are now connected. Everything's pretty much wired up now. I have these wires twisted together so that they can be used later in case my club wants me to do more with this model. This engine's ready to be put back together, and then we'll put this locomotive to the test on the layout as a final test. And yeah, this is it, guys. I'm really happy with this. I feel like this is going to be a really reliable job, hopefully for the fair, and hopefully, you know, this doesn't give out. But yeah, this is Pensy Joe here, signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.